In the last video, we worked on our error messaging just a little bit. Now, it probably appears that the error message is not showing up, but like I said, this is all because of semantic UI. So in order to get that error message to show up, we just have to do a little bit of work here. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world. Essentially, our form right here inside the render method, it just needs to have a class name of error. If that thing has a class name of error, then any error messages inside the form are going to be displayed. But if it doesn't have a class name of error, we're not going to see any errors at all. They're all going to be hidden by default. So all we really have to do here is put on a class name of error, and then we can save this, flip back over, and now again, I'm going to select one of my text inputs and then click out. And now I successfully see my message. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We can also click into description, click out, and we see the error message. So now we can go back into each one, enter in some text, and the errors go away. Likewise, if I refresh the page entirely, I have a fresh form right here, and if I click on submit without touching either field, each field is going to show the error message as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it for validation. So we now know how to show an error message to the user. Now, one last thing I want to do in here very quickly, just for fun, just to make this field look a little bit better, or the form look a little bit better. If we go back to our render input right here, notice how we have a div with the class name of field. So if we want to, we can actually add another class name to this thing of error, like so. If the div with the field class name field has also the class name error, then the entire text input and the label are going to show up as red as well. And so that just kind of helps our user figure out what is wrong precisely inside the form. Of course, we don't want to show those as red all the time, so we can do a little bit of logic to decide whether or not we want to show that error message. So essentially, I'm going to remove that, and I'll say something like, I don't know, const class name above, and then we'll do a little ES 2015 syntax here. So I'm going to use a template string with backticks as opposed to single quotes, and I'll say field, and then I'll do a little bit of string interpolation here. So I'll say if meta.error and meta.touched. So if both these things are true, or truthy values, then from this ternary expression that I put right here, I'm going to return the string error. Otherwise, I'm going to return an empty string like so. So then I can reference that variable for my div class name as opposed to just the plain field. So I'll say class name like so. All right, so I'll save this, and we can flip back over. And now I don't see any error here by default, but when I click in and click out, I not only get the error message, but the field is also appearing red as well. So it's really clear to the user exactly what's going wrong. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, I like this. I think that we're doing great. So now the last thing we really have to do is start to think about what really happens when we submit our form. Yeah, we've got the onSubmit right here to handle submission, but remember the entire idea behind this form is that we're going to actually create some stream object or something that represents a user streaming video to our application. So let's take a quick pause right here, and when we come back to the next video, we're going to start to figure out exactly what goes on when we submit our form.